Hello and welcome to Reviews. As always, it's me, Plume Noir, and as you can tell, I am in my lab tonight. I'm at work and it is a very late night here, so taking a little break here because I want to cover just a few things. First off, as was mentioned yesterday, the news broke. Vertigo's Second Coming has been canceled. Which is a shame because I was looking forward to that book. Vertigo is not really doing very well. It used to be such a good imprint, but the way it's been, brought back, let's look. We have Hex Wives, which is kind of garbage. Interesting premise, but it's not really balanced. We have Goddess Mode, which is, as I mentioned last night, it's just garbage. It's garbage. That's just basically, Zoe Quinn's self-hatred put on paper. What else do we have? Oh yeah, Border Town, which was also canceled. That one, the book was garbage, but I don't think it should have been canceled I would have rather seen it canceled based on its quality, not what the writer did. But I've already done a video on that. About the only good book that is American Carnage. That one's pretty good. It's not bad. And so, The Second Coming, which was about Jesus coming back to Earth, being ticked off at humanity, being all about Sun Man, who's kind of an analog for Superman, and so the two become kind of like roommates. It sounded like it could be a fun satire type thing. And would you believe that for once an online petition worked? Yeah, and it got the book canceled. But the writer and artist, Mark Russell and Price, I think. I'm blanking on the artist's name. It's a really late night for me, so please forgive me. They asked DC for the rights back, and DC gave them the rights back, which is awesome. I hope this means that they get all the, not just the trademarks, but they get all the original art, because they can take this to another publisher. And, they can have it published, by another company. And how great would that be? They can even tag it, the comic that DC was afraid to publish. And DC, with, when they were advertising Vertigo, they already have the name out there. This petition only put more publicity for the comic, so this would be a win-win for another publisher. And like I said, I was probably looking forward to that one more than any of the other books, so I was disappointed to see it canceled, but I'm glad that they got the rights back to it, and hopefully we'll see it come out from another company. Now, secondly, as you notice, like I've mentioned, I'm in the lab. Sorry if you're hearing any type of background hummings and stuff. But I did stop by home to grab a bite, and I came back to work, and I found a package waiting for me. And what was this package? It was this. Now, I opened it up, and I'm like, did I order a Green Lantern comic? I don't remember. I was in a hurry. Just a glance, and it flipped it over. Oh, look at that. Jawbreakers. I have Jawbreakers in my hand right now. As you can see, it's still sealed. I haven't opened it yet. I don't remember which. I'll have to double check my Indiegogo because I don't remember what tier I purchased. But yeah, it's in my hand. Obviously, I won't be reviewing it tonight. Tonight being Thursday night, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm at work. Anyway, I don't know if I'll have a chance to get to it tomorrow, being Friday night, but over the weekend, because it's 120 pages, I believe, I'll get to it at some point over the weekend and do a video on it and let you know how ya boy Zack, how it does. I already did a video on the first book, so let's take a look at the big guy, but we'll have to wait for the weekend. Now, the main point of this video, Wonder Twins. Now, as you know from what I've said in previous videos, I'm an older guy, and I grew up with Super Friends. I was there when, I watched it when it had Marvin and Wendy and Wonder Dog, and then later it had Zan and Jayna, and Gleek back here in the corner. I kind of have a soft spot for them. Those cartoons were so campy and goofy, but when you're a kid, we weren't really sophisticated back then. We didn't have the internet. We barely had Atari. Um, so, anyway, I'm also a firm believer that any character can have a good story, can be a good character, no matter how goofy they are. A good writer can do wonders with any character. Let's say I'm trying to think of a really bad character. Everyone always says Stiltman, but I kind of like that little bowl he has around the back of his head. I think I mentioned it in another video, but what's a lame... Oh, okay, Marvel's Turner D. Century. Okay, that is a character who's basically he believes that the values of the the end of the 19th century, early 20th century were the best, and everything post World War I is the country gone off the rails, and that kind of thing. I think he was actually killed by Scourge of the Underworld back in Grunwald's Captain America run. Maybe issues 319-ish, 318, 319. I want to say it was 319. I don't think they ever brought him back, but you could do something with that character. I mean, as goofy as he is, especially with today's climate, you could do something with that. A good writer could do something, and that's why I say I'm willing to give anything a chance. And so yeah, and Wonder Twins, I like the characters. They're kind of goofy. They could be goofy. You could do like a teen kind of drama with them. You could do silly adventures. You could do so much. This book, well, let me just go into it. I'm going to try and do this really quickly. It starts off, we're at Morris High School, and the issue is called "It Gets Weirder." I told you, I'm really tired. But notice the writer, Mark Russell. He's also the same person, as I mentioned, he was the writer, co-creator of Second Coming, the canceled Vertigo book. So we have a theme going. Books that are canceled. Jawbreakers was supposed to be by Antarctic Press, and we got kind of a theme going here. So it all ties together. It all dovetails. So anyway, we start out, we're in high school, and we have Zayna doing the announcements. And they even say, that's Zayna. She's so shy, I thought doing the announcements would bring her out of her shell. That's some Teacher of the Year work, Greaves. Assuming it works. Otherwise, it's needlessly cruel. Nah. And then we get this, the track team will be signing up recruits today in the gym. And we have the Flash here, track team recruits. Everyone loves a hummus platter. I'm just going to pretend this is the track coach dressed up as the Flash. It'd be funnier that way. It'd be funnier if you had a little bit of a gut, because everyone loves hummus, and hummus is delicious. But anyway, I started to get worried here. The announcements, Zayna says, "Finally, today is Heritage Day, so please take a moment to tell somebody how your ancestors have embarrassed you." What? Okay. So we have this kid who's dressed up like a Dutch boy, fresh off of a paint can. The Dutch like mayonnaise on their fries. They eat chocolate for breakfast, and everybody rides a bike, but nobody wears a helmet, which is actually pretty baller. So, claps, and the teacher asks Zan to come up. And Zan is in full costume, which is interesting because Zayna actually puts on glasses, tries to have a civilian ID. She's so shy. Zan does not. So he starts talking about, I come from the planet Exor. Talks about how boring it is, and we get this. Exor has conquered every social problem imaginable, but the food is pretty bland, mostly protein globules. It's a lot like Sweden, actually. Oh, you know how much the SJW NPCs love Sweden and Norway. My concern level's rising, and it gets kind of worse here. Exorians are modest and sensible people. We're a pretty quiet bunch. Everyone's, dozing off, they're bored. Unless there's a thunderstorm. I love that panel. Whenever there's a thunderstorm, Exoran adults will drop whatever they're doing and start tearing off their clothes. Driven mad with thunderlust, Exorans writhe together, bonded into a single rhythm with the night. Even the monkeys. Men become women, women become animals, and the night throbs with their pleasure. What? Men become women, women become animals, and the night throbs with their pleasure. The teacher tries to stop him, but he says, many body fluids are involved. Okay, we are a couple pages in. Second page, third page, fourth page. This is where we're going. This is where... hold on. I have a theory, and I'll come back to it. So, we have Jan and Zayna walking home. For some reason... Did I say Jan and Zayna? I meant Zan and Jayna. I told you, I'm tired. For some reason, she's changed into her costume. The reason being, they're going to their job. Their job is at the Hall of Justice. I'm willing to give this job a chance. So Superman is explaining to Wonder Woman and Batman to expect Zan and Jayna, and because he had not consulted with them. I love how if you look closely, Wonder Woman is taller than Batman. Yeah, I like that in the New Frontier when she's taller than Superman. It's a great visual. I really like that. But anyway, Superman explains their powers are pretty lame, and even Wonder Woman says that's underwhelming. I'm underwhelmed. So Superman, as a favor to Zan and Jayna's father, has brought them to Earth because, as the father says, I just don't know what I'm going to do. They can't stay here. Not after. I couldn't leave them on Exor, Superman's saying. They'd be outcast in their own land. Their lives would have been ruined. It doesn't say exactly what happens. Probably find that out in a later issue. But Superman enrolls them in school, gets them, basically, on Earth, place to live, and has already been doing this for months. Now he's bringing them to whether they're the Justice League or Super Friends, or whatever. Just call it Super Friends. Because. So, when the Wonder Twins arrive, Superman's showing them around. Here we got another was it El Dorado? I forgot what his name was. Explaining what the Super Friends do and how they coordinate everything, so you don't have everyone showing up to tackle one guy or the wrong hero for a job. And so they get to the supercomputer, and anyone that remembers the show will remember the supercomputer. We used to call this our supercomputer, before cell phones. Now we mostly use it to listen to music. And Hawkman yells out, Superman! And Hawkman says, we just discovered a body in the park. and Zan goes, congratulations! Hawkman just shoots him the look. Now, I'll be honest. I laughed at this. Superman just pinches the bridge of his nose. That's really not a congratulations thing, Zan. It's never mind. And their reactions. Remember, they're aliens. How do you react? They come from a boring planet. And I'll be honest. I legitimately laughed at this line. I felt this joke landed. Especially turning the page. If you know Hawkman, he's also serious. And it was funny. I read this yesterday, and I read it again today, and it still makes me laugh when I read it. So anyway, it turns out that a body's been found with an energy signature consistent with the fifth dimension, and I'm going to hate myself because I have to say this. I should just say the fifth dimension imp, as tired as I am, but Superman immediately knows that it's Mixapitalik. I know I'm butchering that. Everyone says it wrong. I was practicing it earlier today, but Mixapitalik, let's go with that. So, Superman gets all the Super Friends together to go after him, leaving Jan and Zayna alone. And, Jayna asks, doesn't this bother you? What? The fact that we're always just being dropped into situations without knowing what the hell we're doing? No, not really. And just amuses himself with spinning in the chair. He decides to turn on the TV, and yeah, it's the purple lightning just taking down the Super Friends. And so Jayna's trying to figure out what they can do. So she says, hello, supercomputer? Oh my god, that's adorable. Nobody's called me that in years. How can I help you kids? I'm not as useless as they think I am, you know. And, well, it's so nice to have someone to talk to. So, Jayna asks if the computer records everything. It says it does, so she asks for if there's anything that I can do to help, any information. Oh, gee, I'm afraid not. Would you like to hear some Philip Glass? Yeah, I like Philip Glass. Come on, some good taste. So while they're waiting, Zan starts explaining his plans because he's planning to, pick up girls and be the most popular guy in school. So he's joined the hockey team as the ice rink. Fine. Coach says I'm indispensable. And then he continues on with the next part of his plan. He's going to make varsity, and then he's going to get a cool pet and pick up a cool nickname. Here, in his imagination, it's, yo, H2O. So the Super Friends get back, and they're all kind of smoking and charred with this purple lightning stuff. And, Superman tells them to go home. So they do go home, and the next morning they're getting ready to go to school, and they decide to have a race. But they're going to use their powers, and you finally get to see them do the Wonder Twins powers activate, and wow, that sounds terrible when you say it out loud. Yeah, it's goofy. So Superman comes up with a plan on how they're going to get Mxyzptlk back home. Unfortunately, it involves tachyons and has a 1% chance of destroying the world. Destroying the universe, actually. And so while the twins are in school, Zan has decided to join the track team as well. Until there's that purple thunderstorm. And what happens? Thunderlust. Oh, God. I can't keep going. I gotta end it here soon. So after school, he's just torn down. And, I got a nickname today. That's great, isn't it? Isn't that what you wanted? See you tomorrow, Thunderlust. So yeah, that's his new nickname, I think it's kind of a cool nickname. So then, at the Super Justice, I guess they do call it the Hall of Justice cafeteria, Super Friends, Justice League, whatever. Jayna is explaining everything to Wonder Woman, and I've never seen him humiliated like this. He's usually so inexplicably confident, and this is actually a very special time in his life. The Thunderlust, and Zan comes in. Does everyone know? Of course, Superman comes in, Batman comes in. He doesn't know. Superman, knowing the twins' father, says, Zan, he became a man today. So Zan is mortified. And I'm going to stop it right here because the rest of the issue is Superman and Batman sharing embarrassing teenage stories to make Zan feel better. And then the Wonder Twins have to deal with Mxyzptlk. I know I'm blowing that, but anyway, that's how I'm saying it. Deal with it. But there is one line in here that I'm going to just say and pull off the page to the side here. Superman reassures him by saying, high school is a buffet line of humiliation. Everybody gets a plate. I kind of like that line. So anyway, about this issue. I'm 19 minutes in. What do I think? I was worried. I was really worried. These first couple pages, where we have the, finally, today is Heritage Day. So please take a moment to tell somebody how your ancestors have embarrassed you. And then we have the whole, it's a lot like Sweden, actually. And just recapping here. And then, driven mad with thunderlust. They're bonded into a single rhythm with the night. Men become women. Women become animals. and the night throbs with their pleasure. So, yeah, you read these first couple pages and you're thinking, this is more SJW NPC garbage, isn't it? Oops, hit the phone. But, I have a theory. For one, let's take a look at this. We have, talking about take a moment to tell somebody how your ancestors have embarrassed you. And we have the guy dressed in the typical Dutch boy outfit. And, it looks like, haha, Dutch. But I have a feeling that this isn't just the way he dresses every day. It's a costume. And notice what he says. The Dutch like mayonnaise on their fries. Minor. They eat chocolate for breakfast, and everyone rides a bike, and nobody wears a helmet, which is actually pretty baller. See, he starts complimenting them. He's supposed to be talking about how his ancestors embarrassed him. Okay? So, of course, I wondered why the Wonder Twins, Zan, would go to school in his costume. Well, it's for this basically show and tell. This kid went in a Dutch costume. Zan went in his costume. Notice that when they go to school later, Zan and Jayna, I'm tired, are in their regular school outfits right here. So, okay, that's one part of the theory. But what am I getting at? Why are they doing this? It's a diversion. Mark Russell did this as a diversion. Okay, let's think about this. Let's take a step back. The SJWs, all the comics, we know they don't buy comics. They will virtue signal, they will talk about it, Yaz, Queen Slay, but they don't buy them. That's why that's why that comic got canceled. Mockingbird, that's why that got canceled. And we're seeing it now with all these other comics. The sales are in the toilet. Now, continuing with my theory, there once was a time when editors actually check the books. I don't think anyone does that. Marvel, DC, I'm starting to think they don't. Who is the editor in this book? Mike Cotton and Andy Corey. Group editors, Brian Cunningham and Mark Doyle. Didn't Brian Cunningham start out at Toy Fair? I seem to recall that. Anyway, I don't think the editors really check much. It used to be that the writers would write the script, they'd go to the artist, the letterer would paste the captions on the inked pages, but uncolored, and they'd go to the editor to take a look at before it got colored and went to the printer. May have a few details, but you see what I'm saying. The editors would then go through the book, find typos. If there was an art correction, they would have one of the in-house artists do it. I don't think books do that anymore. I don't think the comics industry, at least at the big two, have editors that check things. I think they just sign off on everything, send it as it is. That's why we see so many mistakes. That's why we see lack of continuity. That's why we see so many typos. So what's this all about then? Well, remember what I said about virtue signaling? They could take this and say, today is Heritage Day, so please take a moment to tell somebody how your ancestors have embarrassed you. Okay. Pro-Sweden. Okay. Men become women. Women become animals. Okay. This is hitting all the points that SJWs will virtue signal. They're like, yeah, this is up our alley. Notice it's only the first couple pages. If anyone does take a look, because like I said, SJWs, they just read, if they read it at all, they're not buying the issues. They're just pirating them or looking at scans that people have made. Or, they may, if they even go into a comic book store, they may flip through the first few pages and go, okay, yeah, we approve of this, we approve, we like this as much as we like our purple hair dye. Okay, no, I guess purple hair dye, just off the top of my head. But that's my theory. This is a cover. This is going under the radar because the SJWs are, the way they're just cracking down on everyone. Because you notice these themes get dropped the rest of the issue. It then just tries to go with the humor. And like I said, that Hawkman joke lands. The rest of them, It's kind of a silly book, but that's okay. We need some silliness. Is this what I would have done with Zan and Jayna? Not personally. But I think this is a disguise. I think this is to weed out, people who are just going to look at the first couple pages and get offended and then just drop the book. Or they're doing this to appeal to the SJWs so that they would say, yep, this is approved. Mark Russell, he's on our side. Let him continue to have a career. It's one of the two. But if you look at this a little bit critically, it's not bad. It really isn't. And I think this is clever. I think this is like the brown M&Ms that Van Halen used to do in their for their concerts. It was a test to see if people are paying attention. And yeah, good on Mark Russell. I was really worried after these first few pages, but that was clever. I got to give it to him. So anyway, Wonder Twins. What did I think? It's not bad. It's goofy. Some of the jokes fall flat. It's it's kind of tangential to the DC universe. It's not. I don't know what they're doing with the Wonder Comics imprint. Naomi, which is part of the Wonder Comics imprint, talks about how it's going to unravel the biggest secret of the DC universe. But I don't think Wonder Comics are really in the DC universe. They're kind of tangential to the DC universe. You can't see the circle I'm going around. You see. Tangential. Young Justice doesn't seem to fit. So I think this is kind of like just tangentially alternate universe related. But yeah, it's really not bad. I kind of enjoyed it. Once you get past those first few issues, I want to see what happens. This actually has promise. Just get through the first couple pages. I think I said issues. First couple pages, and you'll be okay. I just don't worry about it. Don't get fooled. So anyway, I need to get back to work. I'm going to call it a night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Feel free to leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But I want to know, am I onto something? What do you think of my theory? Is this just a clever cover? Masquerading SJW comic? Are they trying to fool the SJWs? Or is Russell trying to test us? That's my theory. So, anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.